Hi, I'm Michelle LeBlanc, coach with Outrival Racing, the official coach of Memorial Hermann IRONMAN Texas. We've got a video here that previews the IRONMAN Texas bike course, and we're going to give you some tips and pointers and explain some of the ins and outs of the course to help you prepare a little bit better. Outrival Racing is based in the Woodlands, and we ride these roads pretty much every weekend, so we know the roads and the route like the back of our hand. All right, so here we go. Starting right outside transition area. Last year, the course was a little bit different. They had some different road changes right at the last minute, but this year you're going to start out on Lake Robbins and then turn on to Six Pines and then get on to Woodlands Parkway. So right up here, we're about to take a ride on Woodlands Parkway. And here we go. We're on Woodlands Parkway for at least 7 or 8 miles. The bike course is one loop, starts in the heart of the Woodlands, and then goes out into basically farmland areas. It's a big counterclockwise loop. It's got some rolling hills. A lot of sections are pretty flat, but it's got some rolling hills when you go through the national forest. As you can see here, you're pretty exposed to the sun for at least 2/3 of the bike course. When you get up north and you go through the national forest and some of the sections up there, you will get some coverage with the trees, but for the most part, the course is pretty darn hot. This course can be very, very windy. We tend to get a lot of wind in this area in February and March and then in April as well, and it'll start to die down in May. So you'll have some days where the winds are still quite bad and then other days where the winds are very mild. So it's a little unpredictable in May what kind of winds you'll get. We'll get anywhere from 10, 15, even up to 20 gusty, sometimes sustained, but typically kind of gusty winds, typically coming from the south. So the winds typically, if it's a windy day, it's going to be on the back half of the bike course. But there's some days in April and May that the winds are very, very low. We tend to not have a lot of crosswinds out there since it's typically a wind from the south, and since it's pretty much a north-south bike course, you tend to not have too many crosswind issues, maybe up on the northern section a little bit, but for the most part, you're looking at a headwind on the way back if the winds are bad. All right, so here we are. We're still on Woodlands Parkway. You'll get a lot of crowd out here cheering, a lot of kids with signs. This part's pretty neat. This is going through the community and kind of out the west side, or out the what we call here the back of the Woodlands. We recommend if you come in for training rides that you try and avoid Woodlands Parkway, that you try to find another thoroughfare out like Lake Woodlands. It's a lot safer. This is a pretty busy road, especially if you're riding it at noon on a Saturday. We do have a shoulder off to the right, but when you're coming in, as you get closer, and you'll see this at the finish, the shoulders kind of disappear, and it can be a pretty unsafe road. So we really recommend you ride a little bit to the east of this route on Lake Woodlands, out to maybe even out Terramont Drive. If you're coming in town and you need any safer directions, feel free to email us and we'll send you a little bit safer map that takes you from North Shore Park out of the Woodlands, avoiding Woodlands Parkway. And here we go. We turned right onto 2978, and we are on this road. It changes names several times, and you're going to get off of it here in just a second and then get back on it. But for the most part, you're on this road. You go into some neighborhoods up here in just a minute, but you're headed this direction on this road for a good 10 miles. The bike course this year will be serving Ironman Perform, water, bananas, bonk breaker bars. Here we go. We just shimmied off onto Egypt Road. And this is really just to avoid a major intersection. Roads, it's got a little bit of cracks on that road. Now you're going to go into a little neighborhood, very quiet, very secluded, very safe. This is probably one of the only residential areas you're going to go through until you get to the very end of the course. And we cross 1488 right there. And we're going to take a left in this neighborhood and then a quick right. and then another left before we get on to Fish Creek. So that right there was just going through on Mahogany. A lot of us around here don't even know the names of that little neighborhood. We just kind of know the cut through. And here we go. There's a gas station right there if you're training and you need to refuel. We passed mile marker 10 right back behind there. Again, there'll be an aid station right there, right before you get to 1488. Now this is a beautiful road. We call this Fish Creek out here. Beautiful road. You'll get a lot of the residents will come out here and cheer and yell. It's a kind of a net downhill here, so you'll be flying right here, especially if there's a tailwind. You'll go over this bridge. There's a bridge gap that most of us will get up out of the saddle for as you're coming down that big hill. So you're on Fish Creek. Nice rolling hills. For the most part, it's all big chain ring. You see a lot of discs out here. A lot of front 4s or 6s. The winds are bad. But discs are fine to ride. It's not that hilly, depending obviously on your preference. This race can be very, very hot, very, very humid. The weather can be a little bit variable at this time of year, but the last 2 years ago, it was a very humid race. Last year, it was a very hot race, not quite as humid. But that time of year, it can be hot, humid, both. It can also be rainy. It can also be pretty mild. In June, you're guaranteed a hot and humid day, but that time of year, you can still maybe have a mild day. I wouldn't bet on it though. Its likelihood is that it's going to be hot and humid. And here we go. We're going up a steep bridge, up over 2854. You're going to turn left right here and hook back around to get onto 2854. So you actually kind of do a left and then you're going to head right or west on 2854. You're on this road for a long time. It's a beautiful road. Thanks for watching, and be sure and check out our website at www.outrivalracing.com to see more previews of the Memorial Hermann IRONMAN Texas course.